Oh, doom!
Let's go. I'm live. Let's go. What up, yo? World live and direct. We back. Still preseason, but getting busy. The locker room is hard, man. We love y'all. Share, like, get it out there. The locker room broadcast, we back. I got a powerful cast with me today. We're gonna talk in detail about some good things. I'm gonna leave y'all with this and start with this. God first. You're busy, E-Fish. Bobby Mack, hopefully he walked through the door soon, but we don't know what's going on with Mack. We in Tater Q, having a good time. Locker room, let's go.
Locker room at the home base, Tater Q.
Tater Q. We here.
So we're proud to be able to have a star-studded cast tonight, to be able to really bring you guys some great information, to be able to start it from an educational standpoint, the problems that are in education. We want to take it to scholars that are performing and excelling at the highest level, some of the challenges, some of the things that they're doing right, all the way through the actual Workforce Commission and how we can help our youth and people find opportunities. So the topic of today is how to prosper in a failing education system. And with that, being able to utilize those things to be successful. So we got some key players here. We have Ms. Audra Williams with the Workforce Commission here. We have Mr. Michael Perkins here that everybody knows, 20 years of educational experience, is now a lead trainer and CEO of Destroying the Gap. We brung a special young man here today, JT, Janique Thomas, that is a 4.0 and will be valedictorian this year for Maynard Early College. So we want you to be able to see it from a single pane of glass, from their lens. How do we create opportunities? We're going to really dive into where the problem lies, how to fix them, how to overcome them, and then bring you some keys to success to help your child and to also help yourself.
Yeah, we're going to further push education and knowledge, my good people. We're going back to school. We want to set the foundation. We want it to be sound. We want to get better every day. Every day, we're not going to waste no days. So let's get busy. Get it started.
So Mike, wanted to bring you on because you've been 20 years in education. You've done it everything from teaching to being a principal to actually being a chief, people's officer in an ISD. And so one thing we want to do is definitely talk about where we're failing when we look at certain impoverished areas and how do we actually fill the gap.
So where we're failing, where school systems are failing, correct?
Yes.
Well,
And be honest.
I mean, it's a lot to it. So I'm trying to figure out how to mentally organize it. I guess the simplest way to probably explain it is to say the greatest failure is when we are not connecting with every student, right? And we know just from looking at results, just years and years of results, the students that are least likely to be connected to are black students, right? Black students are constantly performing less than their peers in other groups in reading, math, other things, attendance, all those type of things. And so you got to ask yourself, well, what are the reasons for all this? Well, lack of connection is one. A system that's not designed in order to appreciate the strengths and values of black students and then be able to build upon those. Right? There's a lot of technical things too, from funding, from, for the last few years, staffing. There are many schools and school districts who are not 100% staffed. And it is more likely that those schools that are in areas with greater socioeconomic challenges are going to be those schools that are not 100% staffed or not staffed with certified teachers, right? So then you have the teachers who are there under greater duress, under greater stress, because they're having to do more. So all of those things kind of lead into, theoretically, my student, my kid, not being able to get what he or she needs in order for them to be as successful as possible. Into that.
So in that, when we look at the actual factors, what is one of the biggest misses that we see in school districts to where black students are literally just losing?
Yeah, you got a pet peeve. What's something that just stuck out to you that just got under your skin daily or yearly?
And there is a greater likelihood of you're going to have younger teachers in schools that are concentrated with black and brown students.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So teaching is a profession that takes years in order to get better at it,
Right.
to get master at it. But if you're constantly having first-year teachers at schools with a higher concentration of black and brown kids, then that is going to play into the level of achievement. So that's one thing. That input is always going to lead to that output.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that is troubling. But then again, the funding, man, and so from
I was about to say, get back
so
to the money.
point of view, right? Because I was in executive administration for a number of years. We still are too used to funding equally as opposed to funding given what school or what student what they need in order to succeed. Equally is, I got $20,000, I got 20 schools, each school gets this amount. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we funds based off of the number of students you have and their average daily attendance. And too often, we are just divvying up those funds equally. And I was just talking about teachers and personnel. We lay a equal playing field for how we hire. Okay, we're gonna have this job fair on this, and everybody just go hire, as opposed to concentration of students who need more.
Right.
So I am going to fund them differently, and I am going to adjust my hiring and recruiting practices so that they get what they need in order for them to be successful. People uncomfortable in order to switch to that. I don't know why, but we stuck on it.
I work at LBJ, and I, as an uncertified teacher, have been in those classrooms covering the gap, for years.
I saw that.
5 years. So the turnover is incredible. The turnover is incredible. Okay. So go ahead, continue.
I mean,
In effect, funding or the programs needed to be successful.
now go on the other side of the city, right?
Yes.
And you'll see that principal has been there for 10 plus years. Those teachers have been there for 10 plus years. And the community is all geared toward whatever it takes for those students to be successful, right? And we're missing that. We're missing it with personnel. We're missing it with funding. However, we can still do some things as a community and as families, you know what I'm saying? In order to try circumstances.
Right. So when we talk about community, what are some of the things that we as parents that to be part of the community, how can we come and help outside of just having those sessions to where we're yelling to the roof when something is wrong, but having an impact with what's needed? Let's talk about funding so that we go to the state capitol. Let's talk about hiring practices. How do we change those? What are some of the things that you would actually talk to bring value to allow the company, not the company, but the community to be able to have a voice to.
So, to be honest, I want the community, one, challenge the school board and the, executive leadership. They need to go fight for more funding. As a parent, I don't need to go fight for more funding. Y'all need to go fight for more funding. That's part of your responsibility in order to secure the resources that are needed for the students in your, your education agency, your LEA, your local education agency. As a community, and specifically as a parent, I need to do things, or our parents, I wish they would do more things in terms of, like one of the main things that, of course, make sure the kid is healthy, proper sleep, nutrition, checking mental health. But one of the things I want parents to do is check in with don't wait for them to schedule the parent-teacher conference. Like that first 3 weeks of school, schedule a conference with your teachers. If you elementary, one of the main things you want to know is how are y'all assessing reading? And what is my kid's reading level? Because schools in elementary are going to assess reading. They have to by state law.
Right.
They're going to assess reading in the first 3 or 4 weeks. I want to know what's my child's performance? What are y'all using to assess? What's my kid's strengths and areas to develop? And then how often are you going to reassess? And how I'm going to make sure that I get updates on what. That's one of the main things I want parents of elementary students to do. And I'm talking up to 5th grade too.
Let's say that again. Repeat that for the people. Like, we don't have the flag today, but
right.
we're going to get to it.
Repeat
Say
it.
that again.
Yeah.
Schedule a
If
meeting.
it's heavy on your heart. Let's go.
Elementary parents, schedule a meeting with your teacher or with your teacher and administration and understand what your kid's reading level is. Or what their areas to develop are, how often they're going to progress monitor the reading level, and what you can do at home and so on and so forth. Because whatever their reading level is, it can be better. Or let's say their reading level is they're at a grade level. Someone probably like JT was from the beginning. So then JT's not speaking his language in the class. So how are you going to challenge my kid so he gets a chance to practice and speak his language, right? Because he's at an upper level. Or if my kid is not developed, then what are you doing to proactively make sure I'm tough from that point forward?
Right.
So we got to do that right away. But then even after 2nd grade, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, just because they have reading comprehension now, you have to prepare them for upper level, more difficult text. So you still want to stay on that. And you want to check in with it and make sure the teacher and administration knows I want to be in what you're doing and what I can do in order to make sure my kid is successful.
So this is a message to the community. We need more parental involvement. We can't just show up for sporting events. On these educators to do the job they're getting paid to do. Now I got a quick question. Keith Morgan, you were there at LBJ with Keith Morgan. I like to brag, y'all. We all Jaguars.
For sure.
Jaguars. She switched up Jaguar. We're going to see y'all in 2 weeks, though. You know what it is, man. But a fellow Jaguar, Keith Morgan, he's a principal now. He was my big man, 6'10" Keith, went to Texas A&M.
Keith. Yeah.
He's a principal now. His question was, how do we get more minorities into the teaching field and into education? How do we do that? What do you think would help us with that?
How much time?
That's a locker room.
How much time I got?
Kick our feet up. Let's go.
So here's the thing. In order for you to get more teachers people of color in the teaching profession, they got to go to college, right? So you got to do a better job of making sure I'm successful in elementary, middle, and high school. That's one, because we know that black and brown students go to college not at the same rate as white kids. And then once they get there, they don't complete at the. So one, public education, they got to do a better job of getting them there. And then two, make it attractive for them once they're there. And then there has to be programs in the college in order to keep them there and to support them while they're there. Houston Tillotson, right? You're coming and you're going to get education, a bachelor's in education, and get the certification, then free. We're paying for your college. So that's equity as opposed to equal, right? I'm going to do something different for you in order to satisfy a need that the community has or that students of color have a black teacher, they are going to perform better. So in elementary, well, middle and high actually, but if you have a black teacher and you're a black student, you are going to perform better than if I'm doing my research on.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Go ahead.
So from that aspect, Mike, not only how do we make sure that they're prepared to be successful in college? Because, you know, there's a high dropout rate. Once they get there, we're seeing them first year they're returning back home.
Well, hold on. Don't go there yet, Elm. Don't go that far. Because we still, a lot of ours in our community are quitting in high school. They giving up before then. You understand? We leave from elementary, middle school, high school to keep our kids entertained. Because at my school, we're short of the programs that our kids really want to get into. The barber, the beautician, they have that at Maynard. We don't have electrician. We don't have that. So we have to get those programs back into the school. I remember, and I know y'all went to LBJ, we used to walk in the building and it smelled like bakery in there or soul kitchen. You understand? We don't even have a culinary class or any of that anymore at the school, in the school. So I think we need to get back to funding, like you said, the right programs and not just do it flat board across the board, my brother.
So, and I'm gonna speak this piece, because I think that there's a lot of things often to where there may be challenges district. But if you have the opportunity to where you're able to get them to a school district, take the initiative to put your kid in the best scenario, the best situation. So if you know that there is a bordering district that offers an opportunity for your kid to get up an extra hour or 2 hours in the morning, it is very much so worth it, right? So that your kid literally is having a chance.
I agree. Ms. Williams, you're exactly correct. And a lot of our parents don't do that. We don't sign off on our kids. We hold them back when they are rated, gifted, and talented. We try to hold them back. Sign off on them. I agree with you, Ms. Williams, and stay in constant communication with your educators. Show up to them schools. It's open. It's a non-profit. You understand? Show up.
With that, and I know we'll tie back into you, Mike, with some of the things that are going. But when you look at kids that are not in the most prosperous situations, as far as Maynard of that nature, but I want to be able to tell you that you make the greatness out of where you're at, right? In certain cases. So within that, when there are programs offered, you make sure that you as a parent are fighting for the best education and or programs for your kid. So we've got a young man on that we introduced early, JT is what we call him. And so he's part of the Maynard Early College program, and he's going to be graduating with his associate's degree before he even receives his high school diploma. Athlete. So he plays varsity. He has some opportunities to play football at the next level. The thing about his story is that he has a 4.0 GPA and will be valedictorian of his class of Maynard Early College.
Let's go.
So my question to you, JT, is with a workload as a student athlete, and what type of focus did it take you to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes to maintain this 4.0, and what type of drive is within you?
It took that I had to do because of the people around me, like my mom, and even a couple of y'all sitting here that have helped me get to this point. And I know that I just have to keep going and keep doing the very best that I possibly can, because I wouldn't want my effort to just go to waste, and I surely wouldn't want everyone else's effort that y'all have put in me to just go to waste like that. So that's how I keep myself focused and drive.
Wow. So yourself accountable, because you don't want to fail us.
And myself.
And yourself. That's big. That's big.
What is your
Hold your mic up, baby.
No, I'm sorry. What is your degree and like what is your
Because my class was the last class that can't choose. At Minerly College, the classes after me, they can get it in science
Applied
and
science,
arts and stuff like that. But I will also be a registered phlebotomist, so I can take blood and run tests on blood and give vaccines by the time I graduate too.
But let's
By the time you graduate high school.
Yes.
So let me ask you, money does that position make initially coming out of high? For what you getting trained for, what would you make yearly?
25 per hour. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that works out to.
Hours
That's the
at
start.
17, 18 years old, if you didn't even want to pick up another football.
Yes, sir.
So the other thing is,
but
and
that's just the start.
That's just the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
That's
Phlebotomy is just
I'm just
the
saying.
medium, but
Oh,
you have
of Maynard ISD, right?
Love it.
Because what did that cost your mother?
$0.00.
$0, 0 cents.
that's
And so that's the things that you want to be able to take advantage of, parents. $0, 0 cents, and allows your kid to have a step ahead and a plan of action. So one thing that I always tell them is what to be able to create what,
Opportunity.
right? So that's big. The other thing is tell us about what is the ultimate goal for you academically.
So I do want to go to medical school. Is being able to change policy all over the United States, because black and indigenous women die at around 4 times the rate of white women when giving childbirth. And because of the women in my family that have gone through that, that's just been heavy on my heart. And I want, when I pass away, I at least did something to change that
man, powerful.
all over the U.S.
Wow.
that.
Wow.
Thank you. As a woman.
Powerful.
Thank you.
Powerful.
Here's the
Hey,
thing, he's been this amazing since.
Well, let me tell y'all this. And I know I like to step on toes, but his mama is a pit bull.
She is.
His mama is there 24/7, and she gonna keep her hands and feet on coaches, principal, and everybody else's
Hold
neck and
everybody.
throat. She gonna hold everybody accountable.
So let me say something about, I talked about parents in elementary school making sure they're reading level, right?
Yes.
And you was like, well, our kids aren't even finishing. So parents in middle, but especially in high, make sure you know those academic options, right? Matter of fact, if you're a parent, freshman, so incoming freshmen by state regulations, by state law, they have to have picked an area of focus in high school
Right.
as they're going into
Right.
their ninth grade year.
Right.
So JT's mom, make sure she knew all the options, and if this option had a roadblock, hey, we need this roadblock removed. You know what I mean? But so make sure as a parent that you are setting up, especially for incoming freshmen or even any high school student, meeting with the counselor and principal or some administrator on campus within the first month. Because as my incoming freshman, I want to know what is my student's path, right?
Yes.
What endorsement path is it multidisciplinary? Is it STEM? Is it business and industry? Is it public service? Like, what endorsement plan? Because part of graduation is you have to have 26 credits. We're on the foundation with an endorsement plan, but you also have to have an endorsement. And so that means, what does that look like for my kid his freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year? I want to understand the level of courses that they're going to be taking. So JT just talked about he is going to graduate with an industry certification, in addition to his associate's degree with an industry certification. Well, there are tons of industry certifications that'll lead to you making money right when you graduate high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you want to use that to help pay for college, or if you want to do that instead of going to college. But so as a parent, understand what those options are in your school for a high school student, and then make sure you understand your kid's path for those next 4 years. That way, they're not just getting caught up and being maybe shifted to something else. And now I don't have a chance to go earn a certification in this because I didn't get enough credits in it, right? Because I got switched to something else my sophomore year without me knowing.
Right.
So you got to make sure that you're in tune with that. And again, directing the school, this is what my baby is interested in. And so tell me what you have in order that aligns with that.
Right.
Let's make sure he goes on that path.
And that's perfect segue for me to introduce Miss Audra, because part of what she does is they fund people while they're in school. They buy tools and they do everything. So introduce yourself, Miss Audrey, even though you switched schools on us.
I'm still a Jag. Still got my letterman.
Oh yeah,
Thank
week
you.
2, the Jag Juice won again though. So get out your hating out there. The Jag Juice won again. All right, let's go. My bad,
Thanks.
baby.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Audra Williams. I'm the center manager of the Workforce Solutions at the Eastview, the ACC campus on Weberville Road. And we fund people that may not have gone to college, may not know how to get the education that they want. We assist them in getting that education and showing them ways that you can still be able to do that. Everyone is not going to be able to go to college, not just because of, it may not be because of grades, it may be because of financial.
Right.
You know, everyone has a story, but just because you can't go to a traditional college does not mean your education is over with. There are ways, especially for students that are graduated from high school. Maybe you didn't graduate from high school. Maybe you got your GED. That's okay too. Maybe you didn't even get your GED. Maybe you want to get your GED and just don't know how to get that. We can assist you with that as well. You just have you come and speak with us and we will guide you on all the different ways that you can attain that. Don't let not knowing be the reason why you don't reach out and and get that support, because the support is there. I wish I had known. I don't even think we had these programs in high school,
Right.
or even right out of high school or whatnot.
Right.
But they're there. I think you asked about some of the programs. I think you all had mentioned
Yes.
some of the programs that we have, and so one of them is the WIOA. You can Google it. It used to be called WIA, but it's now called WIOA, and that's just one of the federally granted programs that we have. We also have some state-funded, some city and state-funded programs that they can get into as well.
Right.
Most of the programs, I mean, it's simple eligibility, very simple. I think the only thing that's maybe a little bit hard about it is that you have to fill out paperwork.
It's worth it. I had a young man that graduated from LBJ, young Hispanic kid. He went into plumbing, similar to what Bobby Mack. He said they paid for his tools. He was making $27 an hour and everything. He was still getting educated and getting the education at the same time. Like, you hit a gold mine.
Yeah.
And that was all through Workforce Solutions.
Yeah,
So,
our end goal is employment. But our goal going through it is to remove the barriers to employment.
Say that again.
Remove the barriers to employment. You don't have money to put gas in your car. Well, guess what? We can help you with that. You may not have tools to get this job. You may have an interview, and you may not have the tools that you need. Electricians and plumbers and things like that, carpentry, you have to start out with your own tools coming in. We can assist you with that. Steel-toe shoes and things like that. Some of those theories
yes.
doing that. So, there is that assistance as well.
So
got my man Heath
from a process, them to be able to take advantage.
Yes. Okay. So there is basic eligibility. Okay. Basic eligibility is you need to be authorized to work in the United States. You need to live for company Workforce Solutions capital area. We service the city of Austin, Travis County.
Okay.
Now there is a Workforce Solution for rural cap, and that services Williamson, Bastrop, Hayes, Buda. It services all around. But we service city of Austin, Travis County, and you just need to show proof that you're a citizen, that you say who you are, you can prove your age and those basic eligibility requirements, we do bring you in, and then there's more paperwork that you have to fill out. Anybody knows whatever loan you get, you buying a house, you buying a car, whatever it is, if you getting anything from anybody, you have a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
So just be ready to write. Be ready to think about your goals, because we don't just, what we call it transactional. It's not a transactional with us. We are really here to assist you. So we kind of are, because we want to know, we're about to spend $15,000 on your education. We want to know, okay, are you going to be able to finish? Will you finish? Will you make the effort? Are you going to be suitable to complete? Are you going to show up? Are you going to do the homework? Are you going to be responsible? Are you going to answer the phone when I call you?
Yes.
Like all those things, they oh so easy. But
it's
you'll
simple
be surprised.
training. It's
It
simple
is- you'll
training
be
that we got to
surprised.
get back to, and that's the
Yeah.
question I pose for all of y'all up here. How do we get our community to take advantage of these programs?
To
Because
just-
that's the issue too now, Mike, Elmer.
yeah,
Let's
just
really
show
discuss
up.
this. Because from athletic camps to academic camps, we can give them away for free in our community, and they won't show
They won't
up.
show up.
How do we do this? You know what I'm saying? From physicals, basketball, to academics, robotics, whatever you want to do. How do we get our people to take advantage of the ones that are coming back, giving back?
So Ray, I think that's a great question. Is help us understand what are the fears?
Barriers.
Barriers. What are the barriers that are stopping you from being able to take advantage of some of these opportunities? Shoot it, pay for us. Let us be able to help you break some of those barriers down, so that you have the opportunity, your kid has the opportunity to really to be able to get that additional certification, to be able to get that help.
Right.
If it's paperwork, a lot of paperwork, I don't know, are there people there to be able to help them with the paperwork? So there's people there that can help you with the paperwork.
Y'all
So-
even go get people. We go. They even got.
We sit there-
Right.
yeah, we'll sit there with you. I can't actually fill the paperwork out.
Out, yeah.
But yes, we'll sit there with you and go through the paperwork. We're gonna ask you what your goals. What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Y'all talked about that. Like some of those things you guys discuss in schools, and that's great, because guess what? When they get out into the questions, they're going to be asked those questions when they go on a job interview. I don't care if you're working for McDonald's or you're working for, what is that, McKesson or whatever those
Yep.
consulting firms are. You're going to get the same questions. So
So it goes back, and this is one of the things that they're helping Rising Stars, the lab do, is the programming after school. We got to get back to the after school programs to where we teach our kids to love reading and writing and having fun doing that again and being creative, not just letting them go home after school and get involved in miscellaneous mischief. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So we got to get back to those after school programs. We got to focus on education completely and change the narrative, because look how they turn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? They life changes. They world changes when
What Mike said earlier is that his mother, Miss Moore, would not accept no. So
I want to interview her one. Okay? We're going to get her up there, because she be having a lot to say too, boy.
Well,
She don't hold back.
I think she is one of those that we could say a great mother, to where I'm not going to allow a system that will stop my kids from prospering.
Yes.
So when she got a no, it was tell me why. And then once she got that no and that no wasn't good enough, said no. And what she began to do was break down barriers to where the school district didn't even know while they were saying no.
Right.
So for her kids and any other kids that come behind them. So one thing that I used to tell JT, because JT was a first in a lot of things. And so he
For
was
example, first what?
so he was in the 8th grade
Okay.
taking algebra high school algebra. Now, he was on a different campus and literally just had to walk across another school to take that. But Maynard said no. You know, he cannot take it. He's an 8th grader, whatever that barrier was. And that wasn't good enough for Mom. Yeah. And so what she said was, tell me why he can't walk across the parking lot. Or why can't somebody go get him and bring him to the parking lot? Or can you all just give him work to do it? So she got past that. They put him in algebra. He excelled. And so he has literally broke barriers down. And I told him the hardship in it is when you are a disruptor and you're disrupting things, it's oftentimes uncomfortable. But it's groundbreaking. You know, those roots disrupt the ground. So what he doesn't realize is that he has paved the way for people behind him, right? So I want to commend you and your mother for that.
Right. Let me ask the hard question. What was your home life like? How many arguments? How many times were you put on punishment? How many times you want to run away from home? You understand? How was that, brother?
I mean, we definitely go through
Yeah.
my mom and I, but we're great.
Great.
We just have to have long and hard conversations about the things that I do and how, because she worries about me and if I'm pushing myself, because she doesn't, everything he talked about, she didn't push me to that. I pushed myself to that because I wanted to do that. And she worries that I take myself too far and I'll break down. So we just constantly have conversations and making sure that I'm not gonna, run away and burn out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, JT. So what have you ever reached the point to what would be your breaking point?
The closest I came was Spanish 2, college Spanish, which is the equivalent of like Spanish 4.5 in high school. That was tough, but the resources that were available to me through Maynard ISD and ACC, I was able to get with a tutor, and I had like an online textbook that read aloud stuff to me, so I was able to get myself through it. But just knowing that I had those resources, that's what pushed me over.
So that's a great point, because were you afraid to reach out to those resources?
Did you ask questions? You weren't scared to ask questions?
No. At Maynard Early College, the first class.
Mike is shaking his head. He used to bug you, Mike. I like that.
Jay Teacher's gonna make sure he advocates for himself, as he should.
Yeah.
At Maynard Early College, the first EDUC 1300, and it's a professor that teaches you how to advocate for yourself, how to send a professional email, how to so we spent, how long a semester? 4.5 months? We spent 4.5 months hammering those things into our brains to make sure that when I hit a roadblock, that I could make sure that I could get through it and I wasn't gonna break down and burn out and run away from that problem.
Say that again. What class was that? What was that? Exactly.
EDUC 1300.
When did you jump into that?
So the other question that I have for you, you're 16 years old. 17 years old now. So 17 years old, we're getting ready to start school. You're going into your senior year. You remember, probably if we could replay the tape, your freshman year, walking in. What can you give as far as value for those incoming sophomores that just didn't get it started right? What can you give them as far as words of wisdom from a peer that is a senior?
I would say, I don't know what you want to do, but try to find an ultimate goal that matters to you. So like when I was talking about the maternal death rate for Black and Indigenous women, that's something that I really care about because of personal experience. Constantly to be able to get myself there, and I don't allow myself to, well, I do fail, everyone fails, but I don't allow myself to stay on the ground. I always get up because I have an ultimate goal and I want to get there. So I would encourage people my age to set a goal, like a huge goal, one that might even seem impossible, so that you can always have some.
Do
They
you?
say that, and I got to shout out to people. Like and share. We get in these conversations and get deep. Like and share Locker Room, my good people. Thanks for the support. They had a good principal that showed a lot of love and advocated for you, too. How was the administration?
Right. At Maynard Early College, there's 100 of us per grade, give or take, and with the principal and the academic dean and the counselor, and they talk to us constantly and make sure that we are hitting our goals. They, like I said, everyone fails. They allow failure, but they don't allow you to give up.
Give up to quit.
And I personally got to give a big shout out to Dr. Sadakova.
Right.
She is a beast.
Say that again.
Dr. Sadakova,
Okay.
great work. We're glad that we were able to get you, and we hope that you never leave.
Ever.
I like that.
She is one that is truly vested in kids. So when your kid is not putting in the extra work, they're getting those texts from her at 2:00 in the morning.
Yes.
She is making sure that they are everywhere that they need to be in order to be successful.
True education. She's in it for the right reason.
She's in it for the right reason. My of Maynard Early College as well, and it's big when your kid walks into a situation and they're a junior as a freshman in college academically.
Could you imagine that, though? I couldn't imagine going to the University of Michigan with an associate's degree already.
Yeah, and not having to play, not history,
I probably
English,
never went to
man.
But yeah, that's powerful, man. So let me ask you this question. Mom didn't push you. Where did that drive and determination come from? Was it on the cartoons? When did you pick up that? What was it? Scooby? What happened, bruh?
So I had a third grade teacher, Miss Melanie Griffin Hamlin.
Say her name again. Let's
Loud, say it loud.
Miss Melanie Griffin Hamlin. When you were talking about connection, she's a black woman, and she was a reading teacher, and she would make these little songs that went along with like rap songs, and she would help us analyze. So being in her class and seeing how far I moved, because I was in third grade, I went from a fourth grade reading level to a 10th grade reading level in that 1 year.
In 1 year.
Yes.
Wow.
With Miss Melanie Griffin Hamlin.
What happened to Miss Melanie? Shout out Miss Melanie. Do you know what Miss Melanie is now?
Lagos Elementary.
She's still in Maynard.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue.
Seeing how far I could move in just that amount of time,
Pushed you.
it pushed me, and it gave me a passion for
So
learning.
you felt
Right.
that
Like I was
increase in learning.
I was stuttering with picture books, and by the end I could read Harry Potter front to back in 2 days. So it was like,
Hey, my people, get your children under the right tutelage.
Yeah.
Do it soon. Do it early. You understand?
Right.
It pays dividends when they up under the right tutelage.
Yeah.
Quit letting our kids get abused and mishandled by attention seekers.
So which is great, because that's a great segue and great pivot, because Mike is the CEO of Destroying the Gap. And so as we talk about those things that create gaps,
Powerful.
tell us a little bit about your vision and your company and what it will be able to do.
I appreciate that. So when we talk about destroying the gap, I mean, we've been talking about it this whole episode, right? What are the gaps that are getting in the way of our students being successful? So we know there's what's labeled as an academic achievement gap, which basically just says the difference in performance of black and brown students versus their white college going rates, college graduation rates, even disciplinary, right? Black and brown students are disciplined at a higher proportion than their white peers. And so destroying that gap means providing school systems with the tools that they need in order to eliminate or destroy those gaps. And that can range for teachers and for administration as well. There's something in education that's called the knowing-doing gap, which is I may have a sense of knowing thing to do, but I don't really know how to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like in sports, let's say in basketball, I can say, okay, you run this play by doing this, and that, and I'll draw it up for you. but that don't mean you can get out there and execute it.
Right.
So all the time. And so one of the gaps that the company seeks to destroy is that knowing doing gap by providing professional learning. But what's going to set what we do apart from other folks is that one of the main public education is in the business of looking at retro data, which means data on things that have already happened. You took this test, now see your score, now see all the scores for the kids, and this, but there's really nothing to do about it. Is introducing advanced data analytics, predictive analysis to school systems that says, all right, this student has shown this amount of growth over the course of the last few years. That means they're only provides this amount of growth for their for students in their classroom.
Right.
So now it's not adding up.
Right.
So we need to do something different right away. But schools don't have those tools.
Right.
And so what we want to do that and provide those tools so that they can make those decisions
How does that
early.
affect the teacher though? Like, how? That's a crazy tool.
Well,
but
see,
it's powerful.
as an administrator, it's always a principal for a number of years.
Right.
If I had the tools that say, all right, teacher X, based off of this predictive analytics, then that means I need to start doing something with teacher X from the beginning.
Right.
So maybe it's more training,
There you
maybe it's
go.
more support for the individual.
go.
It don't mean I throw the teacher away.
Yeah.
It means how do I support the teacher better so that they support the students.
Right.
So that's where we are going to be unique
I
in
love
terms
it.
of our
I
services
love
in
it.
order to help schools, in order to help students.
I smell football in there. You ain't gonna you gonna get nervous in 2 weeks though when LBJ show up to
Oh,
Nelson
there you
Field?
go,
Like,
man.
what's
Look
gonna
at
happen when LBJ and Manny look? Like,
I don't know why I would get nervous.
I just had to get that off my chest, world. You know, it's football season. We run this.
Manage all the basketball and volleyball too. So
Hey, football, we'll be there on that first week of school. We'll be there on that Tuesday. We coming to Maine, LBJ Maine and volleyball. Basketball, my son said they gonna show out. I'm so.
That's 'cause y'all moved- that's 'cause
He's
y'all moved to
a
Manor.
Manor Mustang, and
All
he
the-
showed out on the
All the
last year.
Jaguars, all the Jaguars moved to Manor.
It's called a battle of 290.
But I just had to get that out. I need the community to. High schools, we're sending a lot of kids to college, man. You know, shout out to the Trey McCutcheons, Latrell McCutcheons, Jamal Shedd. They blessed me with my U of H gift, so that's why I'm rocking that today. It's coming behind them. I just had to throw that in, like and share. I got some good people in the audience with me. I got the Honorable Heath Maxwell, my psychiatrist. I got Mr. Crosby. He's my media man at LBJ, coming in, checking the scene. What's your name, my brother?
Jordan Smith.
Jordan Smith. We got George Smith in the building. So, locker room is blowing up, man. We about to get back to the talks, but I just had to throw that in and let him know LBJ showing up in 2 weeks, man. We're going to have your coach in here. You coming back? Your coach going to be in here in 2 weeks. A little nervous to come in.
they should be nervous. I'm not.
That's what I want to hear, baby. Let's get back to it, though. So, Miss Audra, what is the thing that you is keeping our community from taking advantage of our programs and the programs you have at the workforce? Let's get back to that because we want to solve problems. This is the solution room.
Educate, not even educate, to assist with finding this information because it's really not that hard. A lot of people have heard of Workforce Solutions, but they just don't go. They just don't seek it. Some people have even used Workforce Solutions. You talked about his mom calling and finding out and asking the whys. Well, why can't you? The question should be, well, what do you offer? I mean, you guys help with getting jobs. Okay, that's all everybody knows us to do. But there's so much more that we can assist with. And a lot of times, if we can't direct someone else who can. And that's the big thing about us is that we do have lots of resources out there for those that just do not know. Just reach out to us.
What's your biggest ask sitting in your seat knowing that you help a tremendous amount of people would love to, what is the biggest ask that you?
Be honest. Be honest. Fresh from Jamaica.
Right. Jamaica mode. Like, get serious about your life. Get serious about your child's life, because it could be one and the same. When you're looking at your children, remember that this is the person that's supposed to take care of you when you old. So.
Say that again. Say that again.
That's real.
When you get old, so why not invest in their education, their livelihood, so that they can take care of you? Just those of you all that have parents and things like that, like, we've had to turn the table, so it's the same thing. Workforce Solutions. I mean, we really do have the solutions for you, for our students that's not going to college. We can do that. We can support. Talked about barriers and just offering that support. We have that support as well. Just don't let fear of being successful.
Bobby Mack said it perfectly. Follow through. Follow through. Follow through.
Follow through.
Finish
Yes.
what you start, good
Yes.
people.
And if you
Follow
walk into
through.
my office and ask for help, don't give up. Don't. You just, keep going. Like, life is hard, but that doesn't mean that you stop. If you stop when you dead. Like, there is no more. And there's always going to be something going on. That's right.
Want to take time out to answer a question or anything that's
No, I
going
don't
on?
want to take no time out to ask no question. Mr. Heat, Mr. Maxwell. Yes, sir. Anything you got? You taking the mic? Taking the mic. We're going to continue to educate my good people. This is all about solutions, helping, support. Go ahead, my brother.
I think it's like she's saying, you got to allow yourself to be vulnerable to go seek the help. And for a lot of people, it may not even be the fear of success. It's the fear of, I need help. Instead of, why come I can't find a job on my own? My parents did it. It's something that we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And that's what I be preaching. Sit there and think that it's going to come to you just because it's you. No, you got to allow yourself to be vulnerable.
Hey man, you know how many times I've heard that word vulnerable since last week, bro. And it's life changing. Yeah. And I'm hearing it from our men, that are trying to grow and get better and heal. So that's powerful. That's very powerful, my brother.
That's great. I mean, we've had.
Yes.
Everybody don't know how to get their CDL.
K. Paul Wallace, my man. We got a dude that's affiliated with the locker room that's getting busy doing that.
So the other question is, can you guys help with that?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. Everybody remember COVID?
Yes.
Everything shut down.
Yes.
Guess who was working?
Truckers.
Truckers.
Fast food and truckers.
Truckers, HVAC, carpentry.
Kept moving.
They kept building. The buildings never stopped.
Wow.
The construction, all of that. Like, they kept working, and they made a lot of money. Guess what? We pay for that too.
We put a link to her services on the Facebook page.
Yeah. Mr. Do-Right gonna get us going. Yeah, definitely.
I think, what your plans were after, outside of football, but what you wanted to do, because a lot of those and just what you wanted to do, where you can get started, can start by having services and programs like Workforce Solutions and Goodwill. I am going to get a shout out to Goodwill because they're one of our partners as well. So we work together in tandem to assist students to get phlebotomy, so that's not the stopping point, the beginning. We're trying to get you on that first step, and then you go on to everything else that you may want to do. But now you've gotten the support, you've gotten the information, You've gotten the labor market information that we give to you, and we give you options so you can make your pathway. And that's that's how it's done. I mean, you can go to our website.
Shout the
Check it
website out. Off of Jamaica mode. Go on, make us say the website.
It's WFScapitalarea.com. CAPITAL.com.
Not gonna challenge it so she can repeat it.
No.
W-
I'm lucky to have her here with us. I pulled out one of them boats, man. Like, man, I need you back. We need the world to hear you.
It's super simple. Just if you go to that website, what's gonna pop up is gonna be the first thing that you need to do.
Nah, but seriously, repeat that again.
It's
Sis.
WFScapitalarea.com. Work WFScapitalarea.com. As soon as you pull that website up, a form will pop up, and it'll just ask you your name, first name, last name, phone number, email, or something like that, and what industry you're interested in. And we target the most in-demand. Austin is big in construction, manufacturing, semiconductor with Samsung and Tesla out there. We definitely cover IT as well. No, I'm sorry, we don't do cosmetology. I know it's a great profession, but and it's run by Texas, so they make the Department of Labor decides what we can fund, but there's a plethora of options to choose from.
So Audra, question for you. I come in, I sit down, I fill out the form, I come meet you, but I just don't know what it is that I want to do. How do you guys guide us or guide me?
Okay. And so the idea is to find out what your interests are. We do assessments, and we ask you weird questions like, do you like to hang? I mean, it's just basic questions, and it helps us to read those and guide you on what you might like to do and what type of job would be good for you. And we sit and we literally have a conversation on your goals. You may not even have any goals, and like you said, you may not know what you want to do. So we try to fish out the things that you are. We don't concentrate on the negative. We want to concentrate on the positive and meet everyone where they're at. Everyone is different. Everyone is on a different level.
Say that again. Meet you where you're what?
Meet you where you at. Whatever you like, we come up with some, with some ideas, some things. We look at how much money you want to make. Of course you do, but we just go from there.
Oh, that's big.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
That's powerful.
That's powerful. Go ahead.
So, Mike, So you've been in the actual educational system for 20 years. What is the most valuable information that you can give parents that will push to ensure that they are pushing to make sure that their kids are successful?
Yeah. So
let me reframe that. I shouldn't say get.
Yeah. So what I said earlier, right? Make sure you set up that conference, that teacher conference, that administration conference early, and then do it on how your kid is performing, that they can communicate that to you and your student, and that everybody's on the same page about what to do now. You know what I mean? So it's about instead of having your kid fit into the school system, make the school system change in order to fit or meet your kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in addition to that, of course, make sure they get enough sleep, but also create a structured learning routine environment at home. You know what I mean? There's 168 hours. Students spend 40 of those 168 at school. Let's say they sleep for another 65. That still leaves 60. You know what I mean? Where we base if learning is going to happen at home on the kid. You know how we do it? We say, do you have homework? What does the student say? I'm not talking about JT. JT's already got, I'm sitting down. I'm gonna make sure I'm taking care of mine.
I didn't
But what is the student gonna say?
No.
No, we didn't get none today.
I'm good.
We didn't get.
none, or I
So
did it already.
eliminate that. Instead of that question, we just know in the house from 5:30 to 6:30, or from 6 to 7:30, whatever the routine you want to establish is, you are to go to this space and you are. Want to read, you're working on coding over here, you're on Khan Academy, or you're doing your homework. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to base it on something conditional anymore. Nope. All right, well, go get on Fortnite then. You know what I'm saying? No, instead, let's establish this routine where it's from this time to this time, you're going to get in the habit of improving yourself. A lot of times, you have something on your phone, parents, to where you can turn the internet off, right? So go on and turn that Wi-Fi off. Or you got the Wi-Fi.
I like that.
I love it.
Turn the Wi-Fi off from that 5:30 to 7 if they need a little bit more incentive in order to focus on learning. But that's something that's real big. The other thing that's real big is, man, how do you make sure that your kid has a sense of belonging at the school? So maybe it's not it's band. Maybe it's neither one of those things. Maybe it's FFA over here. Maybe it's computer science. Maybe it's a coding camp. But get your student connected to something, because when kids feel more connected at school, research says that they perform better.
Man,
So
no doubt.
get your kid connected. Make sure students understand, the teachers understand where they are and what they need to do in order to get them where they to do
Yes.
in this next month.
Yes.
And then what are you aspiring to do by the end of the school year? And then both of y'all work on that.
So Mike, I'm gonna throw a big penalty flag out there. What happens as a parent when I'm a parent and I am reaching out and the principal or the counselor doesn't want to talk to me?
That's unacceptable. That can't exist. You know what I mean?
Say
Like
it-
they exist to serve
Go
parents.
Go back again. That what?
That cannot exist.
Okay.
School systems are there to serve students and parents. And, they may not be able to get to you right then on the phone call, but you expect a response end of that day or within 24 hours.
As a
for sure.
professional, what's my time frame? 24 hours.
24 hours, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's what I
And
want
if
to
you don't get that by then you got to go to the next level. And hey, I thought one of your goals as a school district was to have school. And if I can't even have communication, and I guarantee you that'll get you the communication that you need.
Take a step up.
Yeah.
But let me tell you,
Miss Moore, am I
all
right?
Parents, let me say this as we start. Miss Moore, clap on that. She'll go up. But let me tell our parents this as we go into the school year. Show up and please give the right information. Please give the schools the right email addresses, right phone numbers, so that we can contact you as well. It's many times that I've been on the other end of the spectrum and we've tried to reach out and couldn't get in contact with the parents as well. So full parent involvement is totally needed, man. It's funny how these conversations, even last week, go back. Instruction inside, it started at home. A lot of people don't want to believe that, but it starts at home. Go ahead, brother.
So now we're going there, right? So since
Yeah.
we're going there, so the school is not there to raise your kid.
Yes.
And that's important that you know, is that the school is just not a drop off, and I set it and forget it. Is your kids. The school is there to educate your kids.
So
And-
what do you do when you have a parent that drops off their kid?
You just give me the kid. I don't
See,
even want to deal with
see?
it. My bad, bro. Go ahead.
You wasn't expecting that answer, right? So
No.
No, I'm messing with y'all. Go ahead.
So you know what? Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot and give that to Mike, because you've been in the educational industry for 20 years, and so
Repeat the
That just drops off the kid. That's it. No involvement. Just make sure they get to school or whatever, and that's it.
So as a school leader, I can't base the students' learning on if-then scenarios, right? if the parent is involved, I'll make sure the student learns at a high level.
Okay.
Learning is for all, no matter
Sure.
how. If you come with a super involved parent, learning is for you. If you come with a parent with no involvement, learning is for you too. So one, that's what I expect the mindset of the school leader to be. But two, you still got to continue your outreach in order to involve the parent, right? Because the parent gets satisfaction from that. And again, our research says that partnership will do nothing. The first mindset is, even if that's the case, it's my responsibility to make sure you learn at a high level too.
Like that. So I want to ask one question to JT, because oftentimes what we hear from kids today is one. So obviously you perfected that art of studying.
Not
No?
That took a minute, and I'm still working on it, actually.
Okay. What are some of the challenges there
With
for you?
studying,
Yeah, with studying.
I hate to sound, arrogant or anything like that, but I didn't have to really study until I got to maybe 10th grade with the Spanish class, or before 10th grade. I took that summer after my freshman year. But like I said, with the support from my teachers and my mom and community members and the EDUC 1300 class, within 24 hours of failing my first assignment ever, I was able to get back on my feet because of that support that I had and that I already been building for 13, 14 years.
So what does studying look like for you now?
Phone. I put my phone in the bathroom, so I can't even hear it if it goes off. It's in the bathroom, and I study for 50 minutes to an hour, phone 10 minutes to make sure that I'm not. Because you can read something, that doesn't mean that you
Process it.
read
Yeah.
Retain it.
So
Not process.
I'd make sure to give myself adequate breaks, and
That's good.
Yeah, that's how I stay focused during my studying.
Okay.
So you pretty good with time management then. You got a pretty
Right.
set schedule then. That
Right.
helps. That's part of the battle.
That was part of the EDUC 1300 class
Yeah.
too. We spent 6 weeks
management.
on time management.
Yeah.
See, that's powerful. That's powerful. So you're an exception, valedictorian. What are some of the complaints of your peers, or some of the things you see or actions you see your peers demonstrate that you want to change, or that we could help change? What are some of the things that need to change at the high school level?
High school, I would say more grace, because my situation, I don't have to go change anybody's diaper. I have a quiet house when I need it, and I can focus on myself. But most of my friends, most of my classmates, they don't have that. So I would just say for the teachers and administrators to give more grace.
That's powerful.
Is where
More grace from the admin, from your
Right.
teachers. I hope y'all hearing that. Go ahead. That's big.
Yeah. So Mike, when you hear that, have been an
One more.
So it makes me think, for some reason, and I was like this as a teacher as well. Learning is time bound. Like, you got 3 weeks on this unit, and whatever assignment I give you, you gotta have it turned in this 2 weeks. But that's not how life works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree, because one, that also means that teachers have relationships with students to know the student has this, and that going on in their personal life. But
Right.
period, because of extenuating circumstances, then I agree, more grace. Because if you turned it in week 4 as opposed to week 2, it doesn't mean that you didn't learn it. And the whole goal is for you to learn more grace, especially as it relates to some of these antiquated, time-bound practices that educators have.
And I got to bring Heath back in, but go ahead, Audrey.
I was going to ask you, do you and your peers or friends, do y'all challenge each other? As far as like, maybe not with grades, maybe with grades, but challenge each other to do better.
So At Men Early College, there is competition.
Okay.
So like we have a banner for the top 10.
It's school
Like-
driven.
Yes. So like if I don't do so well on a test, it's not like anybody is making fun of me. It's like, oh, JT,
Right.
he's failing or whatever. But it's like they push me to make sure that I can get back on my feet. Right.
That's important too, I think.
You have a support system that's
And his
applauding
peers,
you.
his-
You got to be valedictorian.
Right.
That's what-
Exactly.
That matters. That matters. Yes. So as we talk about it, and I bring Dr. Heath in. I got 1,000 names for you, bro. Dr. Heath. Bridge that gap to where we show the grace, me working in the schools toward our children, professionals in admin, teachers. How do we show that grace for our youth as we,
What he said was so powerful about having grace. Because without that, we're going to put everybody in the same position. We have to also, like what she was saying earlier, meet people where they're at. Is the teachers, is the admins, are they meeting the students? Not just this cupcake plan thing that everybody's supposed to fit. Like he said earlier, that it needs to fit the students. And also, with that grace, we have to, and I'm pretty sure JT understands this, we have to have grace with ourselves and not compare ourselves to other people that may not have the same amount of support that other people have. So as teachers, as admin staff, we have to take that in consideration as well.
And I think that's why I asked about your peers supporting you, not just for school, because the school did it, but just because it's important for you to have that support with each other as students, to push each other. So, good job.
So, Ray, I know we're close to wrapping up. About 4 minutes left to the end of. We're in the red zone right now, huh?
Yeah, we about to close it out.
So,
21.
giving JT a new name, I'm calling him the JT the Foreman Athlete, because he's a former as well.
Yeah.
So JT the Forming Athlete.
Farm?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What wait, hold on. 2 minutes. Bruh, you saving babies and women, and then you gonna feed us the right stuff and everything. You gonna grow and feed us. So let's touch on that. This is about y'all, bruh. Y'all supposed to step on our backs and be greater.
Right.
So we celebrate.
I don't know who, maybe great grandfather.
Yeah.
He just kept it in the family. We got cows and chickens and dogs and horses, or one horse. We working on the second
Bruh,
horse.
have you milked the cow?
They're not dairy cows.
Oh, okay. So you
No,
say, look, you
I
say,
don't do
nah.
I don't do that.
Right.
Right. And
But that's big. Agriculture is something that
That's
we need
huge.
in our community. We need to start buying more land and property and producing our own vegetables and fruit. That's powerful, youngster. Man, I can't say enough about you, man. I'm excited. I'm thankful that you've given us this opportunity. I'm thankful for your mother and how she's fought in the community, not only for you, but the rest of our student athletes in our community. I applaud y'all for that. And we're going to be there in 2 weeks, bruh. Like, I ain't going to shift off of that. I love you, but I don't
I'll
like
see
you
you.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put a shout out there for whoever gets this man. But if you're a company out there and you guys are doing name, image, likeness, this is the type of guy you want represent your company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a few at Manor, though. It's a lot of y'all at Manor that's on it. My son as well, Trey Jackson. But let me do this. Let them know where we can find you, where we can see you. I might want to apply for a job or something. Let me know what's going on. Yeah, see if you are. Let's talk to the world. Tell them where you are,
So,
great man.
finalizing some things, website,
Wrap it
and
up,
so on
yeah.
and so forth. And as soon as I have all of that ready to go, menu of services and so on and so forth, I'll make sure that I connect with, I'm already connected with Fish, but connect with anybody else who I can in order to make sure those services are easily accessible so that we can, really get in, man, and help schools.
We're gonna
Schools,
have
schools.
y'all back on. This is family.
Wanna
This
help.
is a family effort.
Yeah.
So let me touch on this. This is a big question for me, man. How do we get men and women like yourself to stay in education? That's a big thing, bro. Like, we losing the good ones. We losing a lot of good ones out of education. How do we do that? Is it the money? What do we have to change?
Well, yeah, it's especially for teachers. Killed me that the state had this surplus of funds on this last legislative session and chose not to provide any additional funding to school districts. So yes, the money, but it's also about how you teach. I mean, how you treat educators as a professional.
Right,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? A lot of times, educators are not treated like a professional. They are expected to do. They're in a service-oriented profession, and so. Sure, we do want our educators to be exceptional, but we got to treat them like professionals too. That's how you keep them in the profession.
That you want to touch on? You ready to get back to
Follow
that?
up.
Follow up.
Follow through.
Follow through.
Follow up, follow through.
Yeah, that's
That's our 2-week word.
Be vulnerable. Go get the help that you need.
absolutely.
Ask for the help that you need from people like this right here, and go get it because it's out there for you to get. You just have to go get it. And
Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Like, share, Audra, Mike, JT,
T.
Heat, E-Fish. We represent Bobby Mack. He on vacation. He had to get a brow. They'll be right back because y'all killing them on Sundays, bro. They the the hottest spot in the city, man. It's going to keep crackling. Y'all know what it is. Like, share, tune into the locker room next. Love y'all. We'll see y'all next week.